You'll have to move a little closer to the mic.
You will, eventually.
To the ice cream cone?
Yes.
All right.
Don't lick it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pull a Dave.
Psych. You ever see singers once in a while, like, they put their mouth right on it? Right on it.
Yeah, it works for some types of singing, but not all.
Yeah? Is there some sort of trick that they're using?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, for somebody who's worked with bands and stuff, like I noticed, like our singer from Bulletproof Messenger, he would always choke up on the mic instead of singing to the mic.
I see.
You have to be like, calm down, bro. It's not a penis. It doesn't have to be so close to your mouth.
All right, you don't have to go there with those jokes.
Well, that's what
we promise a higher level of entertainment here.
Yeah.
Penis jokes that's Family Guy.
No, have you ever watched D. Scott and I, who was on our last episode? Unfortunately, Dave couldn't make it, but it was a great time, and I can't wait to have him on the show with you there. But we went for a company I used to work for. We used to do to find the best of the Capital Region, and we did the best hot dogs of the Capital Region. So we went to Hot Dog Charlie's newest lunch and Gus's, and that's all.
You left out some of them, though. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, Mike's, I mean, is awesome.
What about Broadway lunch?
Broadway lunch isn't bad. They're okay.
I'm just throwing them out there.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Just trying to be fair.
Either way, the whole videos were nothing but penis jokes.
All right, that figures.
But
so now I've completely ruined your story.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's
somebody was telling me about God, I can't remember because let's not go there. But someone told me that it was this guy that was on the road. I don't know if he was a roadie or actually played with a band. I think he was a roadie or something like that. And basically, all he did was go and rate hot dogs at venues, at music venues and stuff like that. And he would just go around and write this semi-famous blog about venues hot dogs.
The best wieners.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go, Peter Griffin.
What? That's what they're called.
Yeah, I know. It's still we're exactly. That's great, kid. Don't get penis.
All right. So coming up in today's podcast, we've got a lot going on. This is kind of our Thanksgiving special. We're back at Great Flats with Harry. We're glad to have him back on. Also, we may be looking down the stretch at another shutdown. What are some of the things that we can kind of expect from our local establishments, and what the game plan is going on from there? Plus, I'm fresh out of the hospital. That's all coming up in the next few seconds.
Butt jokes.
The Capital Brew Podcast with 20 North Dave and Nick Lee. What's brewing in the 518?
All right, so here we are back at Great Flats. Harry, thank you so much for coming back on.
Yep, thanks for having us.
It was very, very close that this podcast almost didn't happen. I literally, in this hand, my left hand, I've had 2 needles in there from the hospital, and this one was there. That was 1. There was 2 more here, so that's just 5 on this arm. This arm, 4 times. It was crazy. I had 2 CAT scans. Basically, what it comes down to is I had an infection in my left buttocks, and it was probably the most painful thing I've ever endured in my life. And it's funny because, Dave, you were texting me yesterday, what's the plan for tomorrow? I was literally sitting in an ER. Last night, probably around 10 o'clock, I was just wishing for everything to just end because I was in so much pain. And then, thankfully, something happened between last night and this morning when I got up. And, boy, is today a much better day.
Much better buttocks today.
Yeah, I was in so much pain.
Did you get some ice cream?
No, you know what's funny is I hadn't eaten for days. I literally, you may have seen as I pulled in because I parked right next to you. I would
want to also mention you parked pretty close to my truck.
I did.
And I'm like, dude, there's no other cars in this parking lot. This place is closed.
Those
you had to park
handicap
6
spots.
inches from my door. I mean, and I figured, you having a really nice car would be the last person to ever want to whip it open and wail on my door. But I was
not that nice.
Wow, I'm like,
handicap spot.
He can park. He parks right up next to my truck. I couldn't even believe it.
Well, either way, when I pulled in, I still had a piece of pizza hanging out. That was the first thing I've eaten since Thursday night.
Wow.
Yeah.
You look like you lost weight.
Did I really?
Yeah, wasting away.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can change that starting this week because it's our Thanksgiving podcast.
Yeah, you picked a good week to start eating.
Hell yeah. We're having a bunch of beers that you might want to have on Thanksgiving.
This is the time of year, especially for the darker beers.
Yes, and on top of it, it being Thanksgiving, I believe that was your thought behind releasing 3 stouts like back to back to back.
Yeah, we got a good lineup of dark beer coming out. Hearty foods at Thanksgiving time. We figured hearty beers, go hand in hand. So here we are.
Colder weather, the darker beers.
Exactly right. Let's do it.
All right, do we want to jump into a beer? Because also what we're doing today, Harry last time suggested a fun little game that we can play is to get some of our grocery light beers here and see if we could do a blind taste test and see how well, because obviously Harry thinks very high of the two of us on how well we can figure out which beer is which.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
All right. Well, we got a lot going on, so let's hop into our first beer.
What do we usually start? We start with a lighter and go to a dark, rather than or do we go to dark then to a light?
Yeah, this is a beer that we talked about the last time, the Dad Jeans Cream Ale.
Okay,
so we'll go with the light.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So this is our Dad Jeans Cream Ale. Cream Ale is a style made in New York State originally. Has a little corn in it, which sort of makes it a unique beer.
It's going to taste like whiskey.
We're doing that later.
Right.
We're doing that
it's
later.
Taste corny like you.
But yeah, it's light, crisp, clean. It's like a cult classic in the tap room. Everyone's,
It has a very pale look to it.
Very pale look. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but everyone, seen their dad drink a Jenny or two.
Well,
so,
of course, that's what we're all going to get around to because you went and did a cream ale, and almost everybody in New York State that's a little older will remember Genesee Cream Ale because most of our fathers probably at one point was drinking it.
My grandfather.
We're drinking it.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Just like I remembered.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little sweetness to it.
Yep, absolutely.
Nice light.
That's from the corn, like the creaminess of the corn. Like cream corn's got a lot of sugar in it.
Dang right, yeah. So this is it's a good representation of that. And like I said, this is one that
it's actually probably better than the Genesee one.
Oh, heck yeah, Dave. That's what we're looking for.
yeah. I got to give you credit. I don't think anybody in Genesee is going to come dropping the hammer on me. I'm like, this is quite a bit, a little late on that.
Finally got it to work.
That was, it's definitely quite superior to your dad's Jenny Cream Ale.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. A lot of people, this might sound weird, almost have a negative, like, oh my God, the Screamers. They're like, they wrinkle their nose at Screamers. I'm like, well, yeah, you're talking about when they look at the beer here, if they do have knowledge of the old Jenny Screamers, they might, you might be wrinkling your nose. You're like, oh my God, the last thing I want is another Genesee Cream Ale. I'm older now. I don't have to drink that. But I want to assure you, it doesn't taste anything like that.
I actually am a fan of the old Jenny Cream Ales.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, you're right. There's a certain I think because it was so it was everywhere. It was the market,
and it was
saturated.
Relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, everybody drank it. So yeah, it was like it eventually became that kind of beer. Like it was nothing special. But now that
like a Milwaukee's Best
or PBR, like you think about it, it has blown up in the last 10, 15 years because for the longest time it was just that beer that you would have at the bar that was on tap, and now like people are back into it.
Now, I would say this also: Jenny Cream Ale was the first beer I ever had.
Oh, you're kidding.
Did I mention that last week? We might have talked about it last week. I don't know. A couple of my customers actually asked for it. And I think that what I did is I told them.
I think mine was Mad Dog 2020.
Yeah, my dad and his buddies were playing like basketball out in the driveway, and they had a whole bunch of. So if people will remember the smaller bottle, not the grenade style bottle, but it had almost like an old Mick Light style bottle. Yeah. And they'd get off the court, they'd slam a few beers, and I'd be like, Dad, can I try some beer? And he's like, all right, I guess you're old enough. And he handed me, and I, of course, couldn't drink the whole thing, but I wasn't allowed to drink the whole thing. Of course, I would have. And I remember he gave me a sip, and I took like 4 long pulls on it, and it was nice ice cold, and it was a summer day. And I remember like, wow, this is amazing.
That's crazy. That's not my first experience with a beer.
Well, I'm sorry that yours was such a disappointment. I remember mine very well, and it was excellent.
What's funny is I said like a second ago my first beer was Mad Dog 2020. It's that, which isn't a beer. It was
a
Mad
wine, like
red,
a rotten wine.
Yeah, it was like a Red Dog.
No, Red Dog and Mad Dog are two different things.
Yeah, all right. So Red Dog.
Mad Dog was like cheap wine.
That's not it
that
either.
You could
it was
strip
a beer,
paint with easily.
It was a beer that had
Red Dog
on it.
That's different. That was actually a beer.
Okay, that's what I'm talking.
They were competing with Red Wolf.
Okay.
Remember that? Neither of them sold very well. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who made them.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. I'm sure it was one of the Miller Coors companies.
Which also isn't true because the story goes is that the first time I actually drank beer, I was younger than 2 years old, and my mom had left to go deal with an emergency and was trying to suit me up. My mom's roommate was like, "No, that's fine. Leave Nick here. We'll take care of him." And then he had a couple of people over, and they thought it'd be funny to feed me beer. And when she got home, I was in the bathtub by myself puking.
That sucks. Yeah.
So apparently that was the first time I had beer.
How old were
Not
you?
a good start.
Explains a lot, right?
How old were you?
Oh, less than 2.
Less than 2. Oh, wow. Jeez.
I don't remember it.
Then does it count even?
I guess. I don't know.
I guess technically it does.
Then I
By the
remember
way, this is excellent.
It is good.
This is excellent. It was much smoother than I would say than a.
Yeah, it's one we try to keep around. People are always asking to make sure they. We've made a couple iterations. The frequent request though is OG original recipe dad jeans, so it's like a little sweeter.
And you're from out west, no?
No, I'm from upstate.
Up north. Okay.
Yeah, I'm up from Washington County.
Okay.
Yeah. But we've always had cream ale here.
Yeah,
or tried
that's
to
true.
keep it here. Yeah. But out west, it is a big thing. My brother lives in
Yeah.
Minneapolis,
Oh.
and he's like, man, every brewery's making it. Like everywhere, they're making their whole business on cream ale.
Oh, bro, that's crazy.
I'm like, well, jeez, let's do it.
My grandfather.
I'm on board.
Let's do it.
My grandfather was from Skinny Atlas.
Really?
Which
It's up
is
by Syracuse.
no, it's actually close to Elmira and
Skinny Atlas?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yep.
I want to say it was up by Syracuse.
it's right on the Genesee River.
All right.
So I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the area that
Is that where the Genesee Brewery is?
I think it's in that area. Yeah.
Genesee Brewery?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, it's in Rochester.
It's in Rochester. Duh.
Oh, yeah, it's in
Yeah.
Rochester.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they have.
And I assume it's, I always assume the brewery's in downtown. It's in Rochester, the city
Okay.
of Rochester.
And wasn't there a big thing kegs of beer or something? Genesee was floating beer down the river or was on a barge or something, beer delivery that got loose. There's an old story.
It's possible, but I don't know that story offhand.
But never mind.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Moving on.
No, that was well done. That was good. You're learning.
Well, what's funny too is with everything that's going on with COVID that we'll get to in a little bit. But the great thing about this podcast is it's like a COVID test. You start the podcast, you sip the beer, like great, I could still taste it. Right?
Well, I totally missed that. See, maybe it wasn't a good idea to have me facing the windows. I was like, I'm going to check it out outside, see what's going on. Now I'm just
Zone out.
Now I'm staring at every little person out there, seeing what intrigues that they're getting up to.
I'm just saying it's good that with COVID going on right now, that
can
it's
still
good.
taste it.
The podcast is like a COVID test. So every time we start a podcast, you're hoping that you can still taste that first taste of beer, and when you can, you're excited.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
And when
I'm
you
not
can't-
sure that's how I would do my COVID testing, is
Drinking beer.
drinking beer at a podcast. But okay, if it works, maybe that's what we all have to do.
No fever.
You know what? That's
Taste
the new.
beer,
That's the new
I'm
test.
healthy.
Pfizer, you're out the door.
Yeah.
Nationwide.
No, nationwide.
Exactly.
Go to
Beer
your
test.
local
brewery.
brewery, and
Hey.
if you taste the beer,
Support your local
you're
bars.
in good stead.
That is a great idea.
I like
I
it.
can get behind that.
I think a lot of people can get behind that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't get too behind that.
Oh, gosh.
All right. So, what's going on? What's new with what's going on with you guys?
Oh, just work, man. Glad to hear you're okay. That's a scary little hospital visit. So,
Yeah, it was really scary because I was in the hospital twice and nobody knew what was wrong. It was just something that was super painful. There wasn't really any physical signs. I went through CT scans and all these different blood tests. So it was scary because I knew I was in pain, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy and they didn't know what was wrong.
Did they figure out what was the start of this issue, or they just pump you full of drugs and let modern medicine take its course?
Not even. They were worried that it was something that had to do with my digestive tract, so they didn't want to back me up any. But it was like in the meat of my left butt cheek. So it didn't seem right that it would be. But they didn't give me any painkillers. I think the first place I went to, I think they thought I was doctor shopping. And I don't like painkillers.
What is doctor shopping?
It's when you go to doctor to doctor trying to look for painkillers. What doctor's going to give you painkillers?
Oh, really? I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't either. Yeah. Well, we can
Well,
do
now
the
that I do.
standing
Great,
if
perfect.
you're-
Thank
if
you.
No, I'm
if you
good,
wanna
I'm good.
stand, we can.
I'm perfectly fine. I'm excited to be sitting and doing this. Yeah, you're right. I was bedridden, and I couldn't sleep. There was a couple times I did fall asleep standing up. It was brutal.
Not bad. Jeez.
Yeah. But whatever.
Hey, you can taste the beer and you can sit down.
It's a good day. It's a great day.
It's a great day.
We have to get you one of those little donuts to sit on.
Yeah.
All right, not bad. Not bad. I'm going to try this beer because it's in my hand and I'm excited. This is the middle one, so it's the chocolate one. I think
that's right. This is our.
Because I want to save the best for last.
Before we do go to that one, what kind of foods would we pair?
Oh, that's a good call.
With the cream ale.
The cream ale. Well, like you said, like our friend said, you can compare or you can contrast. Like something like a cream ale, you could eat something spicy, like jambalaya or like Mexican something spicy because it's got a good
jalapeno mashed potatoes.
It's got a good mellow light flavor. But it's not a bite. It's not a bitey one like that beer. What was that beer you were talking about with the gold foil?
The Rojas.
That's a fantastic beer, by the way. But like that's got like a piney bite, which I really like. But that's got a smoother
Rojas.
Yeah,
Rothaus.
Excellent beer. But we'll get back to that. But that the cream ale, like you said, could go really well with something spicy like a wing.
You said that, but you're right.
Something like a Mexican or something like Cajun.
Yeah.
Because you want
Cajun,
something
perfect,
like we would do like a Cajun boil every once in a while, which is a wonderful thing, and it would get spicy.
Yeah,
and I would make sure I had two pint glass, 2 cups of light beer right there, just to it wasn't like I was trying to put out the fire so much. It was just you get that spiciness, you get thirsty, and you want that beer.
Yeah,
that beer, you wash your mouth out, and you're ready for the next, ready for the next round.
It's funny.
But then you can also do stuff like that's. Like lighter and mellower, like almost like you're pairing a wine, like you would do like a shrimp scampi or a chicken francais,
something salty,
like
something garlicky,
that's lighter. I guess you would say, because I would also liken it to a white wine.
Yeah.
You would want like a lighter cream sauce, or like I say, a francais or a scampi sauce, or a something like that. Might go well with it. A cream ale.
Yeah,
but it's up to the individual person. Like our friend said, it's your own personal palate.
Even when you talk about the Cajun, I think like a blackened flavor too.
Yes, blackened spice, which is Cajun. Those are interchangeable.
Exactly.
Blackened seasoning and Cajun seasoning.
When I think like you were talking about the fish boil.
That was actually the Cajun boil.
Yeah, Cajun boil.
Which that's shrimp, andouille, potato, corn, celery, garlic.
And then there's a blacking, like the blackened chicken, blackened steak on that side of the Cajun.
Those are fantastic. Steaks don't get as spicy, like I've noticed. If you do a blackened chicken or a blackened catfish or a blackened grouper.
I did blackened ribs.
They have a tendency to be extremely spicy.
Yep.
But when you blacken a steak or a burger, I find that maybe it's the fat coming out of each one or the liquid in each one.
That cuts the heat.
That cuts the heat considerably. Like if you had just a blackened burger as opposed to a blackened chicken patty,
for sure,
the chicken patty is 5 times spicier. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that is. Well, like I said, it could be a result of the red meat being very having a lot of water or juice in it, blood, I guess you might say.
How about you, Harry? What do you cook in this Thursday that you're gonna cook or you're gonna drink this with?
Well, we can drink this, but I'm going to shut my phone off for a second. Sorry about that. I got a rack of lamb dry rub on it right now, and I'm psyched. I'm going to let it sit for about 3 days in the refrigerator. Tons of dry rub. I'm psyched.
and now he leaves.
Yeah.
We're going to have to convince him to leave us a sample.
Actually, I might if I can get like a crowler of that Jenny. I'm calling it Jenny cream ale. It's the Genie cream ale.
Yeah, Dad Gene's cream ale.
I might have to snag one of those.
All right, so we're doing chocolate bar next.
Chocolate bar.
So you would pair that with the lamb. I like it.
Yeah, I would.
The cream ale.
I think you could go either. This I'm probably gonna be drinking dark beer this Thanksgiving though, for sure. Yeah, like that lamb is like nice earthy, rich meat, and I think like a rich stout like this would be perfect. So this is like got a lot of dark malt. It's got a little bit of oatmeal in it, so it has like a really nice soft mouthfeel with those like really rich malts. Really take it home, I think.
Now you said it's a chocolate. Now, do you add like cocoa, like some sort of cocoa powder or bean think of like malt like coffee, and then you can roast it and bring out different flavors. So you aren't actually using chocolate. You're using
like a chocolate malt.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Let's do it.
I just did it. I cheated.
You panicked.
It's lightly sweet, so you get the more of like the cocoa-y, chocolatey malt than you would rather
like a dark chocolate.
Bingo.
Yeah, like a dark chocolate, which is semi-sweet.
Actually, it does have a dark chocolate.
Absolutely.
But
I think that's what you're shooting for.
Yep, exactly. Yep, semi-sweet, lightly sweet, something like that.
not a whole lot of
Which is
vanilla.
nice. Well, which
Yeah.
is nice also. Sometimes when you get a stout that's chocolatey, it's so sweet that, like, after a few sips, you can't even, like, your lips are stuck closed. You know what I mean? Or like, you spill a little on the glass and you find yourself, your hand is stuck to the glass.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? But that's
Yeah.
what you get when somebody does a really sweet
Yep.
stout,
Yeah,
which
syrupy
this is
stout.
not.
I like it. I'm if I had to guess, like, actually this would be pretty good with dessert. Like, you were to have like a chocolate mousse pie or something. This would not contrast, but it would complement the.
I think to some extent, but you might look for something like this is very chocolatey. Like, you would want maybe not another chocolate dessert. You might want something that goes with it.
pecan pie.
Yeah, something like that. That's got a lot of brown sugar in it.
Yep.
You know, I don't know. I
I
don't
would
know
eat
if a
this with
pumpkin pie, but a pumpkin pie might also, ginger.
Yep,
might
ginger,
go.
nutmeg kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think when you talk about like those earthy flavors, I think it's the kind of stuff like with stuffing. Like,
Yeah. And I would
Yeah.
stay away. Like, this is something you'd stay away from spicy stuff with.
yeah.
I think so.
I don't think it would really.
Yeah, you'd probably be in trouble if you were.
Yeah, I just don't think that was someplace you'd want to go. You want to
No.
stick to
Back to the
something
cream
like that.
ale. Yeah.
Ice
Yeah,
cream.
yeah.
You're right. Yeah, that's a good Mexican food one. When you said that, I
Yeah,
was like, you know what?
you
That's
know,
exactly
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I could do that
With a little, you can see it with some cilantro, raw onion
yeah.
type thing. I know we're going back to the cream ale.
That's
all,
fine.
all
The
we can
cream
talk
ale, that's
about.
really good. So is this one though?
It's delicious, but along the lines of most stouts I've found, a couple of them go a long way. Whereas that cream ale, I had that done in like 4 sips and was ready. I almost said when he got up for his phone, I'm like, grab me one of those cream ales.
We can do that. We can still do that. I mean, we still got all those beers in there too.
I got like 150 gallons in the back.
Oh,
so
see, that's a great feeling. It's a real great feeling.
It is, yeah.
But I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to belittle this chocolate. Like I said, if you like,
It's good.
So when you have like semi-sweet chocolate chips, it's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Cheesecake.
I like
this would
cheesecake.
Oh,
This would go- this
cheesecake.
would
That's
go
a
with
good one.
cheesecake.
Yeah, it complements those
Yeah.
flavors.
Maybe like a cherry cheesecake.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love cherry cheesecake out of my auto. Well, no, I like turtle cheesecake too. That's pretty
So
good.
anybody out there, go get your cheesecake. Come down here.
Yeah.
Grab some
So you're
chocolate
not
stout.
live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you guys doing it in crowlers and growlers?
Yep, you got it. We'll do.
So people can come down and get either.
Bring your growler. We'll sanitize it.
Yep.
So
See, we
we're gonna
talked
dump
about that.
Thing, clean it right out.
Yep.
Be in
Get the
tip-top
HIV
shape.
out. Get the COVID out.
You got it.
That's one thing I will say about when I walked in. One of the first things I said to you was like, "It smells clean in here."
Oh my God! You like sterile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Dave does the same thing. Like
Oh,
our
absolutely.
hands, there's nothing left. The skin on
Yeah.
our hands these days is like leather from all the cleaning chemicals.
Well,
But hey,
in this day and
you know.
age, it's a good smell when you walk into a place
Yeah.
and you look around and like I've been in enough hospitals in the last couple of days to feel that maybe I should have been having like work
Your
done
operation on
here.
this table?
Yeah.
Definitely. You off the floor in here right now.
Could clean out any of your wounds with this next beer we're about to try.
Awesome.
We'll get to that. That's not. Hold on. Let's slow down a little
Okay,
bit.
all
I'm
right,
like,
all right.
I'm
well,
excited
you're
about
jumping the
the
gun because I'm still enjoying this one right here. Like thinking about dessert.
because I like whiskey.
What was it? I lost it now. There was not so much dessert and pairing, but
Well, what do you guys eat?
oh,
for
the
Thanksgiving?
sterilization. It was the. Is your crowler? The crowlers are quarts.
Yep, 32 ounces.
The growlers are also quarts.
They are 64 ounces. So they're double the size of the
Yes,
crowler.
2 quarts.
Yeah,
Half-
2 quarts.
4 beers.
You get 4
Half
full
gallon.
pints out of one.
Yeah, it's half gallon.
That's a good amount of beer.
Really
Yeah.
nice at Biden's.
Well, the thing is, like a growler, and we got some growlers where I am, but they're only 32-ounce growlers, and like somebody's like, well, yeah, somebody comes in and it's like, well, you're only getting really 2 beers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's some. Well, I'm like, well, if it's one person, that's not bad. They can eat and drink 2 pints. I think that's pretty natural. But if people want to get beer and go have not a party, but do some drinking, a 32-ounce growler is really not adequate to that task.
Yeah.
No, but at the same time, if they're coming in to order food, some wings, something like
Maybe
that,
they get 2.
They can bring it home and drink it. Like
And
that's
the
sort
nice
of a
thing
nice
is you can bring it back. I can
Yeah.
fill it. Maybe we cut you a break on your next fill.
We
Yeah,
should
I like that.
invent a crowler topper.
What do you mean?
Like it's something that goes over the top of a crowler.
A growler or a crowler?
Crowler. So that like you could go into 20 North, get a crowler of some Great Flats, and then like open it and drink it while you're waiting for your beer or your food. Your food comes out, you just cap it, finish the beer at home.
I think there is like a screw-off version. I don't know how well
Don't
they
ruin
work.
my dreams.
I'm trying to make them come true.
Right. No, what you're doing is ruining them because somebody already thought of
Thought
that.
of it. Yeah.
Damn, these people steal my ideas
Well,
before I come up
all
with
you
them.
really simply need is, if you think about this, like let me see like one of those cans. Just using this as an example. Wow, this is a big can. I didn't realize.
A condom.
What you could crack it, drink it, and then they could make like a just a plastic thing.
Like-
you just put it back on. That way, if it tips over,
But I
it's
want
not
it to plug
pouring
the hole
out, and-
too.
You want to what?
To plug the hole. So in case it spills, you don't end up with like an 1/8 inch of beer on the top when you go to open it.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, man. You're gonna have to open it
inventing
carefully
this.
and slurp the top out of it.
Back to the
which
lab.
is like
Yeah.
which is like 0.001
But no,
ounces.
I know what you're talking. Like my girlfriend has this thing for the cat food that goes over the cans of cat food when they're done.
Same thing.
Yeah,
I
same.
think they make it for sodas. It's like a soda saver. Though I don't know who in the world can't drink a whole 12-ounce
besides the
soda.
soda, yeah.
Usually I drink like 4 of them.
I seen that commercial. I was thinking that myself. Like, who the hell can't drink it? Just
I
throw
mean,
it
and then they
out.
make the ones that are like 8 ounces. I'm like, what's the point? I'm like, now I got to open 4 of them at once.
Oh, gosh.
This is good though. I like this beer.
But
I
I
don't
think
even
you're,
like
I think
stouts.
I think I'm telling you, like you could have them like with the bar's logo on them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like here's your crowler, here's a cap. Like let's say you go home, you're like, I don't want to drink 2 pints.
Right.
You know you're going to drink it pretty soon, and now you've got it, and you got your name on it, and the next
Yep.
time they buy a crowler, they've got it.
I like it. Yeah. We'll,
It would be cool if if they made crowlers to take other places. So like, hey, listen, we're going to the park or we're going to like the show or whatever. We're going to bring a couple crowlers. That way we got the top on them.
yeah.
You can drink some of it, put the top on.
Yeah. This shutdown, which I know we're going to get to in a little bit, but it really has opened up people's creativity in what you
Yes.
can do as a bar or a restaurant in terms of food and beer. And like you're seeing stuff come out with local bars and brew are doing delivery. Like,
Yep.
they never did that before.
We did it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and
well,
I said to
no.
myself when I opened up my own place
Yeah.
that I would never, ever, ever deliver food.
And then it was
You're-
2020.
You are.
Now I'm
you know?
eating those words.
Exactly.
In 2020, I'm eating those words.
New York State allows us to deliver
Along with lots of other
beer.
food.
Yeah. We can deliver your beer to people's houses.
Yes.
Crazy.
And people asked me that the other day. I'm like, listen, if you call me up and I know who you are, I will bring you beer.
Right. Beer and wings, man.
Yes.
Will you bring me beer and wings?
What's your credit
Maybe.
card number?
How far away are you from the bar? I'm not driving out to Latham.
You're not Troy?
Absolutely not. My God, that'll be my whole shift. I'm like, hey, how many deliveries did you do today? 1.
Troy.
I went to Troy. And a $2 tip, thanks.
I'll give you more than $2. We sit on my back porch smoking cigars and drinking bourbon.
I use more gas than that. What they say, necessity, the
Yeah.
mother of invention.
Yeah.
I say laziness
Hey, you
is
do
the
it-
real mother of all invention.
I think that's actually the opposite. Like sitting around, you're not really doing anything. Wanting to be lazy is the mother of invention.
Think about how many things were invented from people that were
Wanting
just
to be lazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or that were lazy, that didn't feel like wanted to do less work.
There's actually a story in one of the books I read by, I don't know if you've heard of Robert Heinlein. You might have heard of him. He was a big sci-fi writer in the 50s, maybe 60s. Like Isaac Asimov.
No Asimov, yeah.
Well, I would say he was a contemporary and very well known. Like he did Stranger in a Strange Land. You probably heard of it. But anyway, there was a story in one of them, and I think it was the something who loved me. It doesn't matter.
The Spy?
But But it was a story about
Monday
a guy
Friday.
who was super lazy and didn't want to do any work, and he went to like a military academy, and like part of the hazing process was you had to know like the logarithms, or you had to know certain things. And this person was so lazy because he didn't want to learn it.
Yeah.
He figured out a easy way to do it. And like the guy did it was like a parody, and like the guy invented a computer.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to figure out how to do all this computations.
So now you're
So
arguing
now
my
he
point.
actually invented a computer so he didn't have to do it.
Laziness is the mother of all invention.
He's wanting to be lazy,
Right.
but it turns out he was really not lazy
Yeah.
because he thought of these really ingenious methods for being lazy,
Yeah.
but yet he was doing all that work. I guess maybe there was a moral to that story.
Yeah, you agree with me.
Maybe it was lost on me,
Be
but
lazy, I don't
maybe
know.
one of you out there will pick up on it. I wish I had a better memory for the story. You know, people are like, oh, it's going to be a good story, and I just don't remember anything.
It's all good.
Go out and get Robert Heinlein's The Something Who Loved Me or whatever it is.
Get it on Kindle.
Jared, if Jared's listening to this right now, he's probably screaming at the
J-Rod?
radio. J-Rod, you idiot! It's this book.
So what's next? Are we moving on to the next beer? You got it in
We
your
can
hand.
move on to the next beer. Yeah, I know. You see, you just turn around, I find out I have beer in my hand. Or we can talk about we can hold off for a moment. Or while we drink this beer,
Well, let's drink.
mention that we have obviously a dilemma coming up during a holiday.
We do. First, I say we drink this beer and talk about how delicious it's going to be because I can smell it. And it uses one of my favorite whiskey brands. And then
Bellows.
we'll talk about what we will pair this with, and then we'll go into the upcoming Doom ahead. Doom. All right. I'm going to take a sip.
Go for it. Yeah, take a sip, guys, and most importantly, a smell as well.
I did. That's actually the first thing I did.
I smell the Maker's Mark in it.
You can actually catch the aroma of the alcohol.
It's been sitting in Maker's Mark barrels for over a year, so yeah, it'll suck that right out of the wood.
Yeah.
And then you also get really nice notes of vanilla, a little caramel. It's a pretty rich beer. So it's one that, when you want to put it out in the fall, you got to put it in the barrels the year before.
Yeah.
So we've been sitting on this one, and fingers crossed, and here we are drinking it, and we're pretty psyched that it worked. It panned out.
It did.
Now
I hope you don't. This reminds me a bit of Three Philosophers.
Huh.
Oh, jeez.
You know what I'm talking about?
Just because it has strong alcohol taste.
Well, yeah, it is, because that's what obviously gives it. That's much sweeter and more berry-ish, or like flavored brandy-ish than this is. But I get the same. Actually, as a matter of fact, I just had a Founders. I want to say it was a KSB. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, the Kentucky Bourbon Stout.
Yes, I just had one of those.
We had that in the meeting.
Was that when we had it?
With Nippertown.
Yes, that was it.
Yep.
Right?
With Jim. Jim likes his stouts.
That was a serious. It was a 12%. It was 12%. Let me tell you, as soon as you cracked that and smelled it, you could smell that alcohol in there. It was almost like a light wine.
Yeah.
But I would say that this tastes similar to that KSB.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's sitting around 10%, so it's not quite 12. But anything the double digits is a
serious beer.
Serious beer.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting more. I think it's pretty smooth for as high alcohol content as it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I will say this: that KSB, you could almost feel the burn.
Yeah.
From the alcohol, like you would if you did a shot.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. So the aging process does help mellow that a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
But it holds the flavor of the whiskey really
Big
good
time.
too.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
And I noticed the vanilla, some whiskeys almost have vanilla flavor.
Yep. Yeah, they get that from the oak. Yeah.
Almost, actually, like if you've ever had, what's that liquor? Tuwaka. Did you ever have Tuwaka?
No.
It sounds
very,
like a Star
it's very
Wars
sweet.
character.
Like a liqueur almost?
It is. It's very sweet. It's an Italian liqueur. It's
there we go.
has a very
Sambuca?
very vanilla caramelly flavor.
Okay.
You've never had Tuwaka?
No. You guys have that down at 20 North?
Yeah, for Johnny Rick. Just him specifically.
Specifically.
Well, I
Yeah,
hope he
I'm
wants
having a
to
little trouble
share
with
because I
that.
might be down too.
The 10% beers.
I got to see, actually. He hasn't been around in a while. If not, I will get it.
What would we pair this with?
A couch.
Yeah, not driving.
Chillaxing.
Yeah, exactly.
Do shots of this.
Yeah,
After dinner.
I mean, yeah, this isn't something you'd really be drinking with dinner.
This is a nightcap. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
for
think.
sure.
What's it called?
Well,
Nightcap?
that's the name of it
It's
is.
the Stockade
Yeah.
nightcap.
Yeah. So
And
that
I
makes.
I try to tell our customers that too. All right, guys, this is it.
Yep.
This is the one.
I mean, if you think about it, the KSB was literally 3 beers, 3 normal light beers if you drank them in one beer.
Right, and that's where you get hit
you-
hard.
Yeah, you get 3 beers are now 9 beers. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, like that's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, you got to be careful.
I went to the Excelsior pub a few weeks ago, and our friend over there, Jay Bauer, he has, like I said, he has like a bunch of beers at the top of his list that were aged beers, and that were like 12%, 15%, 16%. And I was like, you know what? I'll just get one of each.
Oh man.
Plus, I drank a lot more of the beer than that night.
You gotta spread that out.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not the brightest.
Live and learn.
I've done it many of times. Somehow I still haven't learned.
Learned.
Yeah, this is the type of thing when you're done eating, you want to just sit back.
Nice little cordial.
Maybe have a little stogie with it, like
I like stogie. I would definitely smoke a stogie with this one.
right, something like that.
See, I compare this with cigars. What's that?
Maybe
What
some
kind of cigars are you smoking
tiramisu.
these days?
Right now, my humidor is filled with gurkhas.
Really?
I got a
Aren't
bunch
those
of
pickles?
gurkhas in there. But my favorite cigar is a Helix cigar. It's an American, like I call it the science project, because like I don't know, a little quick brief thing with cigars. People always like they talk about cigars. They talk about like how great Cubans are. Well, here's the deal. At one point in time, yes, Cubans had the greatest cigars, but then along came a man named Castro who took over these plantations. So a lot of the rich plantation owners took off. They took their best seed and they took off, and they went to like the Dominican Republic in South America. Like they started growing their own cigars in other places. So a lot of those cigar companies that are based in South America or the Dominican Republic are really traditionally Cuban cigars, because you're kind of still dealing with the same whatever. Anyway, Helix comes along and they say, well, we're going to add science to the cigar, and we're going to use science to produce a good smoking. So they're super cheap, and I don't want to say cheap. They're super inexpensive, but they're a great quality cigar.
Cool.
So that's another one of my favorites. I smoke all kinds of cigars.
Cool. Yeah, I like cigars.
A Connecticut wrap is like a Churchill Connecticut wrap would be like my style, but I like there's some darker cigars that I like too.
That's a big cigar, Churchill.
Yeah,
Those are
the big,
man.
yeah.
Oh, so you're in for the long haul.
Oh,
with
yeah.
your light one.
When I sit down and edit a podcast, I tend to break out a cigar. And
Jeez, just do it. I like it. Cool.
I should have brought one to Dave's the podcast we did at Dave's back deck. I don't know if you know this, but Dave lives on a beautiful lake, and
Didn't know that.
beautiful view.
Well, it's not like common knowledge. It's not like
No.
I'm announcing it.
He lives at 234
Right. 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
What was it? Union Street,
Yes, right.
235 Union Street.
Oh,
But I would say even like a dessert, like if you've ever had tiramisu,
Yep. Oh yeah, that would go.
that
with
might go good with this. Something like that. Yeah, tiramisu is one of my favorites.
Uh-huh.
That
would go good.
So that has that mocha, that coffee. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe we gotta get some tiramisu in here.
Yes.
I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
No, tiramisu.
No, it's-
Tiramisu. I don't know. I'm Italian. I should probably know
Tiramisu.
it.
What was I going to say? I was going to say that, yeah, I think this goes pretty good with any kind of like pastry too. I would imagine like cream puffs are popping in my head.
Cream puffs are good. Period.
Yeah.
Something a little sweet. Something a little rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
Yes.
Good pairing.
Something sweet, like like any kind of cheese. You go to a cheesecake factory, they get like 800 different kinds of cheesecake. Any one of those ones would probably be
Red
awesome.
velvet cake.
There you go. See?
Delicious.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is one that we try to do it every year. So next year, hopefully, the batch is as good or better. But when you put it in the barrel, you don't know what's going to come out. That's sort of the risk you take.
Now? If let's say something went south, what would that be like?
So
air got in there or something?
Air could get in there. The barrel, inside the barrel in the wood, there could be an infection, some foreign
Mold or something?
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, with bourbon barrels, there's less of a risk than I think
mold,
than
yeah.
wine barrels, because like the higher
Alcohol kills a lot of
yeah,
bacteria.
and they
probably
char the
Yeah,
whatever.
They burn it real good. Yeah.
Yeah, so the barrels are a little safer, but again, it's Mother Nature, so like
Yeah.
things can go
Go wrong.
wrong. Yeah,
If it
yeah.
can, it will.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, Frog Alley's doing. They just got a bunch of Buffalo Trace barrels in. I seen. So
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I think they're about to do something.
yeah.
And it's funny because we were here
I haven't heard this song in forever. Holy cow!
when we were here for the first podcast. That we were looking at these barrels. They were over there on the right hand side.
Yeah, so this summer we were talking about it.
Yep.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure. So
the
this
one-
is
yeah, they're right in that door
the
where we came
fruit
in.
of their labor.
Yes.
Yeah, it's here now.
Yeah. See,
awesome.
all right. That's great. I feel good now.
Me too.
Full circle.
Had a chance to try it out.
Yeah.
I don't get out much. I mean, if we didn't do this, I wouldn't even really get around.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yep. Well, this along with the fact that the discussion that we were having about
Yep.
the possibility that bars and restaurants can be shut down again.
So it's a game plan.
Well, from what I heard, and I'm sure most of the public has heard this, it's starting today, as a matter of fact. We've got 9 or 10 days, I'm not sure exactly, and between now and then, they're hoping that our whatever percentage rate they use as their guideline, we hope that between now and then we're below it. They're going to reassess our area, and now once again, a region. I don't know, I'm not sure how specifically defined.
I think I say capital region or Schenectady
or
county or
so.
Colony County.
One of our, obviously, Harry and I's concerned is our region specifically. What is our region comprised of? Is it just the county? Is it the Tri-County area? Is it upstate New York? Because I guess they're using a specific criteria to decide whether or not they're going to allow. And it's not just bars and restaurants. Of course, I'm being selfish. Bars and restaurants, but it's everything essentially. It'll be like essentially if they decide that we are above or beyond whatever guideline they set, they will shut us down. And I believe that shutting down is essentially the same as how we were in April, the end of March, April, and May, which essentials are open. Drugstores, food places,
breweries.
Liquor stores are open. I mean, I don't know how that would also apply to breweries, but they're trying to eliminate places where people congregate, obviously. And I'm worried that regardless of what they find, we get lumped in with places that have a much higher, a rate, and that we won't be open, and we don't even have that problem. You know what I mean? Like if you just center where our area is, maybe Schenectady. I keep saying Schenectady County, but could be any number of ways you divide it up by town, whatever. But they're going to reassess it in 10 days, and then depending on where you fall, they'll either leave you open through the holiday or shut you down through the holiday. And we, meaning Harry, myself, and some local bartender restaurant owners, were getting together to discuss whatever options that we had to us, which, as my partner pointed out, were very few. I'm pretty sure. But it never hurts to get together and maybe see where everybody stands, and then you might not know who you have on your side till you start asking around.
Yeah, true.
Exactly.
And if we talk to some people that aren't just bar restaurant but are local small business owners that are affected. Plus, I mean, I don't see why that the mayor or any of our representatives shouldn't, be concerned. We're their constituents, and I feel that, why shouldn't we take advantage of their representation and maybe get them involved, because it does concern their town, their area, their people.
Yeah.
I mean, he might tell us to go scratch. He's got bigger things to worry about, plowing and everything. But, I mean, this town grew up a lot lately from bars and restaurants.
Yep.
The strength of its downtown area isn't because a lot of businesses and offices came into this area. It was because there's a lot of, I guess, social activities, being bars and restaurants, or the Proctors, for example, or the Bow Tie, or the Slock. I don't want to leave them out, but they're the ones also getting the shaft.
Yep.
Then I'm not saying that something has to be done for us, like, oh no, we have to stay open, but at least consider our livelihoods.
Yeah.
Let's not make it harder. I mean, there's ways, like you said, necessity is the mother of invention. It's not just shut everybody down. There's ways for us to still be in business and make everybody safe that don't just mean us shutting our doors. Yep. And I hate to say this, a lot of our contemporaries, a lot of our people in this business can't afford another shutdown.
Exactly.
Like
right.
they're at a point where it's a tipping point where if we don't get people in the door and sell food and drink in our place, I'm sorry, our delivery and our pickup can't sustain our bills.
Yep.
So it is a concern. And it could happen really fast. We were saying, 9 days isn't that long, especially when we got a big long 4-day holiday in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm. What can your patrons do to help support you through these times if another shutdown does happen?
Well, I mean, specifically, obviously know that we're going to try to be open and service them in terms of alcohol and beer, or alcohol and food. Letting them know that, they can get, now we got growlers, now we got, we have ways of getting beer and drinks out to you where, you don't even, like, if you're delivering, you can actually bring it right to people's homes. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that, I'm not going to take a phone call from a 16-year-old wanting some wings and a case of beer.
Hey, man, can you pick me up a pack of cigarettes?
Right, and a pack of smokes, too. Yeah, I'll stop at Stewart's. But, I mean, specifically, you ask that people be patient, understand that This is something new to us. This is something we're not really equipped for, just takeout and delivery. So be patient, and obviously you can still get your you can still get your food that you always got. It's just you're gonna have to take it with you.
Yeah.
Other than that, you want them to be on your side in terms of how interested people are in writing letters and Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff. Hey, you know what? There's a lot of posts you can send to the mayor or send to your local representative and say, hey, let's try to do our best to keep these places open. These are a backbone of our social lives for a lot of people. A lot of people might dismiss, but hey,
You know the mayor's phone number off the top of your head?
Oh, God.
Just go down to J Street.
Just go,
right there.
you know where he works. You know what I mean? City Hall.
Yeah.
But there's lots of ways to let your local representatives know that you're like, hey, listen, try to do the best you can and let these people do the best business they can with still being safe. But that's all I can say. It's not like I can cite like articles in the state constitution where listen, if we're screwed, we need money. There's really not a lot of options open to us. But until you talk to people, you don't really know that.
True. And also on top of it, you guys getting together and having a meeting on it with whatever, maybe Jay from Hunters knows of some resource that will help out Harry, and Harry knows some resource that will help out Dave, and Dave will know something that helps out JT over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we I just figured it's a lot easier if we actually sit down and talk to each other and figure out, everyone's problems are kind of the same, but then everyone's unique. It might be a payroll thing, or it might be a tax thing, or who knows, whatever it may be. I think we are the guys, like Dave said, who have worked pretty dang hard to keep people in the city, and the city has invested a lot downtown, and we've all got a lot to lose.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, your point exactly. We don't have to be open 100%. I'd like to be. But, the times are what they are, and, I think there are probably creative solutions around what can be done, and whether that's with elected officials, with city government, with whatever, there's stuff out there, and we just need to get on the same page.
For example, the 10 o'clock thing.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you don't have to close at 10. Maybe you let some businesses where their business was a late night business.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If you're still going to have to wear your mask, you're still going to have to eat food.
Yeah.
You're still going to have to separate.
Yeah.
But some places don't start really doing business till after 8 o'clock.
J Street Pub.
I wasn't going to bring that up because I didn't want to single anybody out.
Well, I know. Mitch was part of this conversation.
You're right. I didn't want to single anybody out. But in fairness to him, I'm like, maybe he does his business from 8 to 4. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right, exactly.
State law says you can stay up until 4.
Right, that's his. That's his.
And the other thing is, aside from the 10 o'clock thing, is maybe relaxing on the food thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand to some extent why they have the food rule, and I've bitched about this before, and I've done it on this podcast.
I agree with you.
And in terms of for I guess what they're hoping for is making you eat, which prevents you from bar hopping. Is unfortunately, I don't think it's helping as much as it's hurting, like specifically my business and your business, in terms of some people who want to just come out and drink maybe 4 or 5 cocktails and relax and shoot the shit are not coming out or not coming in because they don't want to eat. Those are your money makers.
Yep.
Those people come in and
your
cost
regulars.
you. Those are your regulars, and they spend. Those are the people. Like they say, you know what your regulars do?
Keep your business.
They pay your bills.
Right.
Everything else is gravy.
There's a local,
and I hate. I'm sorry to say, this is long-winded, but those are two things that can be addressed that can help us out. I know that they will be probably irrelevant if they shut us down completely, but you see what I'm saying? Like those are things that aren't. I don't see them being super helpful to stopping the spread, and I see them being harmful overall to our businesses.
Yep.
There's a couple of businesses that I've heard rumors. Like there's a place that if you walk in, you order a hot dog, or they put a hot dog. You sit down, they immediately put a hot dog in front of you. Now you can sit there and hang out as long as you want. Eat that hot dog as fast or slow as you want.
Yeah, I know. I like that. That's a way around it. And I'll say I think a lot of places are getting away with it because the people who made that rule are realizing that rule is silly.
Yeah.
And people are doing that as if somebody's going to give you a hard time. Hey, listen, I followed the rule. This person got food. And there's nothing you can say about it. He might be like, "Well, that's not what I meant." Well, I'm like, "Well, if what you meant is what you meant, you're really hurting a lot of business by making somebody order a full meal every single person that comes into a bar. That I'm sorry, I think I see where this person is coming from, but on my side, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Yeah,
and I'm sure there's other things. Now, let's say we talk to the mayor or we talk to a representative. What about the city takes a good chunk of money from every business every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And, I bet you that if they would be willing to, because obviously we have to pay our bills. Yeah. We have to pay our vendors. We have to pay. Those are things that have to get paid. We have to pay the people that give us food and beer. Those things have to be paid. But as far as I'm concerned, the city doesn't need their sales tax that fast.
Or is that high?
How about they defer that for some businesses that need. And, your sales tax ends up being like a substantial chunk of change.
Yep.
Every quarter, pretty substantial, and I think that a lot of businesses could really benefit from that being. I'm not saying
I agree
that you are forgiving it. I'm not saying that they never have to pay it. All right, but how about we defer it? How about we say, okay, some businesses might say, well, it doesn't matter if you defer it. I'm never going to catch up. Well, at least you're still in business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like if
Yep.
that I'm sorry that whatever quarter this ends at, whatever January 1st. Some businesses might not have that chunk of change.
Exactly right.
You know what I mean? And that paying the local government that chunk of change puts them out of business. And I'm just using that. I'm not saying that has to be something we do. But when we're discussing things as a group, maybe that is something that is a possibility to lighten the burden. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We still have to pay our employees. Our employees still have to eat and clothe their kids and have a shelter.
Yep.
Does the city really need my sales tax money right this second?
Yeah.
It'll probably say yes. I'm like, yeah, but then what? You don't get paid $100,000, whatever. I'm not even going to get into that right now.
And what if your business closes?
And I understand this. I understand the city needs to pay their employees. I don't want the city employees not getting paid. That's outrageous. But I'm sure there's plenty of things where that money doesn't need to get paid.
Yeah.
That day.
Right. We can delay some
You can
stuff.
delay. I think they should look around and I don't think I'm being unreasonable at all.
No.
There's probably some wiggle room somewhere. Mm-hmm. And the officials might tell you, oh no, all that money is spoken for as soon as you pay it. Yeah, well, I know a lot of businesses that don't pay their sales tax right on that day, and they eventually do, and you handled it then.
Yeah. Yeah, those are exactly the kind of things we need to talk about.
Or relief from the state, maybe on your mortgage.
Yep.
We're still paying our mortgage. You're still paying your mortgage.
Yep.
What if we, what's the possibility of having that deferred for a little while?
Exactly.
That's also a big chunk of change.
It is, yeah. And these are the things that, I think when you sit down with 10, 15, 20 restaurant, barn, or small businesses, I don't want to exclude anyone from this. But it
doesn't necessarily need to be open door bookstore for,
exactly
they're social.
Right. Exactly right.
They'll be affected if the shutdown happens. They're not essential. They'll be shut down.
Right. They can't sell anything.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't see how that's fair.
Right. Right. And again, people like things in a small city. That's what brings people here. That's what makes it a good town. These things, and I think most businesses should be able to survive a bad month or two. We've had 8 months.
Yeah.
And we're going into the winter.
We're adding some bad months coming up.
And then we're about to hit another shutdown during the holidays, which is where you can finally make some money.
Where you bank it.
Yeah, exactly. Then
where everybody does parties.
Yep.
Where everybody comes out because they're in town.
Yep, exactly.
Because they're visiting relatives. I mean, it's a big month. Starting with this weekend.
Yep.
In previous years, this weekend through New Year's is a really good time.
I was going to say, isn't Wednesday like the top biggest day?
It's like the biggest bar night.
Yeah.
And it's going to be completely shut down.
Yeah. I was thinking New Year's might have been first and maybe Thanksgiving.
No, actually Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah, everyone's home with their family. It's
Thanksgiving Eve, St. Pat's, then New Year's.
I remember sitting out in front of your bar waiting for it to open late on, I think it was Thursday nights. Was it Thursday or was it Wednesday night? Was there one night you opened up later because of the...
When?
In the past. I don't know.
Where, here?
Yeah.
At 20 North?
No, at 20, yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Because I had friends that came in from out of town to visit family, and I was like,
you mean Dave's like on Thanksgiving?
It might have been on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it would have been, because we were open all day on the day before. That's a big day. But sometimes we were open on Thanksgiving.
But you would open up at
7
or 8.
It would be late because we would be for the football game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sadly, I can't do that anymore. I have too many family obligations.
Yeah.
Like Pete and Eric want to handle that. That's up to them. But I think that is extremely unlikely. I think they're going to do it privately.
Yeah, I don't mind.
You know, and that was when there was a later football game, and it was only on NFL Network. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get it on regular TV.
Yeah, we came down.
And the Steelers were playing, which they are again this year.
Speaking about the Steelers, then, I mean, is there something like it's stuff for the local businesses to help each other, like maybe like a shared revenue pot or something to help businesses that are failing?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure someone smarter than me can think of something in that vein. But yeah, like that's why I'm like, it's important that we do sit down because you're right. You're right. You're into
smarter,
it all
together.
Like, people think about it in
people
different
much
ways.
Smarter than we are.
Yeah, exactly.
They can think of stuff.
Right. And like again, like it's just a way to make sure that the city understands the dire situation that we are in. You know, this is not like, some guys didn't make a lot of money this month. Businesses go out of business. Like that happens. But this is not that.
Yeah.
This is like there are regulations being imposed upon you for a period of time that you can just no longer, keep up.
Yeah. It hasn't. It's not viable anymore. Like
right.
The restrictions have made your chosen business not viable.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we open up a business. It's maximum. We'll say, for example, it's maximum occupancy is 100.
Yeah.
Right.
You build it to be relatively busy, to close to that.
Right.
When somebody says, well, you can only fill your place halfway. Well, now you're making half your revenue.
Yeah.
Right. That's
a lot of places
in the business plan.
That's not in my business plan.
Right.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Right. And after 8 months of that, you're like,
yeah,
oh boy, expenses are like this.
Yes.
And
expenses didn't get any less, and now I'm making considerably less.
Right.
That's that's how that's working. And like you said, they don't realize that the social aspect of the city, of why people want to come down here and eat and drink and hang out, is because of these small places. It's not because Applebee's is here or the 99 or something like that. No offense to those places, whatever. I don't care.
But you're not going to find them.
But
down
people want local places where they're going to meet, hang out, know people, stuff like that.
Yep.
I hate to say if 2 months happened, if that actually happened, we'd probably lose half of the business, half of our small restaurant and bars in Schenectady.
Yeah, exactly. And then
more than half, maybe.
And then what? Like the city's had Metroplex has been pouring in money. Your taxes have been pouring
in
money for years. And that's all going
to in a 1 year.
Exactly.
All is lost. I mean, it's just, and I'm not asking for money.
Exactly.
We need to have people spending money that they're not spending now, that they were spending before.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we need people running around with no masks and.
No, we need to be reasonable.
Exactly.
I think you can be responsible and reasonable in a way that allows people to stay in business.
If you're gonna cut my occupancy, you can't cut my time too.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Without cutting your expenses.
Like you say 100%. Now you've cut it to 50. Now you've cut it to 25 by doing
hours.
that.
Yeah.
You cut my occupancy, so I'm already at half.
Yeah.
Now you took away my 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock business. Now you've taken another 25% of my business. We're operating on a third is what we were operating before.
And think about your employees too. They're going to start like, I need money. I had to go with a smaller crew now. A lot of people that were only there part time, had a couple shifts a week are gone. Now it's your full timers are part timers.
Now it's just now exactly now the full timers are barely getting by at part time.
And this is another thing. I've talked to a lot of other people, and they said, I mean, it's hard enough in good times. You work your tail off in good times. And now, you talk to other bartenders, owners, there's like a morale thing, you know what I mean? So what am I going to do? I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Do I throw a big party and defy all the rules? You shouldn't do that. Some people are. Whatever. That's their decision.
We all got to eat.
It's their decision. They got to make money to pay their bills, to pay their employees.
Just like everybody else.
Exactly right. So you're stuck in this situation where you're like, well, what do I do? Am I the idiot? Should I be responsible?
If you're responsible, you lose money.
You're the idiot almost.
If you're responsible, you're going to fail.
Right,
if you're not responsible and try to do it, you're going to do well, and then somebody's going to
get sick, right? Or
get sick, and then you're going to get in trouble,
right? Yeah.
It's a catch-22, and we've been really trying to maintain it, trying to keep it busy, fill every table for as long as we can, but. The 10 o'clock thing, along with the half occupancy, is just. I'm sorry,
it's brutal.
It's crippling.
It's crippling.
It really is crippling. I mean, even though I hate to tell you, I bet you even the wealthy, I bet you even Applebee's, places like that are hurting.
Oh, they're hurting. They're not paying their rent. Those guys, those big commercial businesses are. Oh man,
They got half business too. I walked in there and see every other booth cut off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those places do well, but those places do well because they're full.
Yeah, it's
Crazy stuff.
So anyway, stay tuned maybe for some notes on a meeting where we
for sure.
try to
I will mention that. And if that would, I would say if we excuse me, if we got together with some maybe key people, we could have this discussion in greater. Although I don't want to, we're probably putting everybody to sleep out there. you probably should talk about something more entertaining.
Drink some beers, guys.
Yeah.
All right?
I hate to say this, we were going to do this. I'm not sure I got it in me to do the taste test right now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer.
No, it's okay.
But I'm not sure I want to.
You probably got to go to work, huh?
No, I do not. I'm very fortunate, but I just don't know if I want to do. After those two last beers,
All right.
I'm not sure I want.
Maybe we should have started with them.
We probably should have. I mean, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer.
No,
it's not
it's
like
all
we
good.
can't do this test anytime.
No, we can.
Yeah.
We can leave the beer. Is it all right if we leave the beer here?
Absolutely. I got a couple refrigerators. No, it's fine. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to bolt. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I just don't know if I want to get into that.
Yeah.
That right now.
For sure. Well, can we sample, there was a couple other beers out there that I wanted to try instead.
Want to do one more just normal
just for
sample?
fun,
And
yeah.
we just
Yes.
And we'll call it a night.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm totally fine with that.
Just one more beer. It's the famous last words.
What do you think? What are you thinking about?
Well, there's
something you pick because I get to pick two of them.
Interested in that Schenectady Community Beer 2020.
What about this? Did we do the Cincinnati?
not ready yet.
We
We pulled a sample. It needs 2 days.
No problem. I'm not even going to bring it up now, so we don't want anybody getting out there getting excited.
Yeah.
And I'm also interested in the Pale Lager.
Let's do the community beer.
Yes, that's what I want to try.
Got a really good story.
Okay, good.
All right, I'm going to go grab samples. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
Woo!
I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just not sure I
okay.
want to deal with that right now.
Let's go down to the mayor's office and just start banging on the door.
You're more than welcome. If you're going to go down there, you got to have some sort of agenda. You just can't be like, "Hey, mayor,
hey man, we were just talking about
something.
stuff and stuff.
Right?
Do something. Do something.
Right? I don't think that's gonna fly. But let's say for example that we got together and maybe somebody actually who's smart took notes and organized things. You could, somebody as a representative could go up there with with a short outline of notes and be like, all right, we, meaning the Schenectady Small Business Restaurant and Bar Association
Coalition,
as we're called,
have really?
Some concerns. No, I just made that up.
Okay,
have some concerns, and we'd like to at the very least make them known.
Yeah.
He might be like, hey, great, thanks a lot. To smell you later.
Yeah,
and tell
he's like, no, you have a legitimate
he's like, tell your story walking.
Yeah.
But that's our responsibility, and not that's what we elect officials for.
Just tell them there's going to be all kinds of news here.
What's that?
Tell every official that you're going to invite to this that the news is going to be here.
I don't even know any officials.
Tell them that the Capital Brew podcast is going to be here.
Do we have to do it right here? We'll be looking out over the Lafayette Street.
Yeah, but you're going to be a part of the meeting, and I'm just going to be narrating it.
Like Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
Like he's got to narrate everything.
Dave made a very good point, and that's when.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but in this time of year, you get a very with the way the sun and the clouds are, you get a very
pretty.
Well, there's a term, Hudson River School of Art, that has a very distinctive look. Yep, thank you.
Beer. I like beer.
Now this is okay. We're gonna get the story first before we start slamming it.
All right, Schenectady Community Beer. So this is the third year we've done this.
So this is just everybody brews a beer and puts it in a pitcher and dumps it in a bucket and brings it over.
I play that.
Yeah, bartender's choice. Bartender's
What is that? What is that called? Like
oh God, I don't know.
The New Jersey Turnpike, I think we called it, where you take everything from the beer mat.
Oh, gross.
And you'd put it in a glass, and then you'd say, all right, shots are free if you do it.
I've never seen anyone do that, but I'm sure they have.
We called it a New Jersey Turnpike. You picked up the mat and you squeezed it out and you put it into a...
Oh, God.
I've also seen people take the rag and wipe down the counter and
same thing.
Wring it into a...
essentially the same thing. But, the worst was when you had White Russians. Because you'd have that curdled milk in there in the rail. Anyway, just so everybody's got a great thought about drinking after that.
Feeling good.
Here comes the community beer.
Yeah, community beer. So every year that we've been open, so it's been 3 years now, we give out hops cuttings in the tap room in the spring. So we bring in Cascade hops. We give out 100 cuttings or so to our customers. They go home and they grow them, and in the fall they come in with their crop and we brew a beer with it.
Oh, nice.
So
awesome.
yeah, and it takes hops. The plants sort of mature over 3 years. So the first year they produce a little bit of hops, the second year a little more, and third year they're sort of at what they normally adults, exactly.
Are we about 3 years into it?
So this is the third year.
Nice.
Wow.
Exactly. So this year is the best year.
Awesome.
And it's predominantly Cascade, but we do accept any hops.
Yeah.
So it is an IPA.
So it's an IPA. Yep, exactly. It's very well balanced because we know going into it that we don't know the quality. Like normally when we buy hops from a broker, you get like a printed sheet of numbers, the analysis, the
percentages
acids,
or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. So with this, we don't know.
Yeah.
So we sort of have to say, and we learned this the second year we did this. It was, I'll admit, it was a little it was okay. I was not psyched about it. This year, I'm psyched about it. So we make it more of like a middle of the road, more well-balanced IPA. Instead of being like, we're going to do like a double hopped, double IPA where you're relying heavily on those flavors being really good. We say, listen, we're going to go for a more balanced approach to make sure that it's, it's something that people like. So this came out at like 5.8%. It's malty, and it's more like a classic traditional IPA that you maybe would have had 5-6 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not a New England. It's not.
No,
it's not.
No. And even the color. Look, it's more ambery.
It's more amber. Yep. Almost like a flower power looks.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like that straw colored hazy,
which is very popular. Hazy. Which has become very popular of late.
Super popular. Yeah. So this is more. This is a beer you
more
maybe
traditional
would have
style IPA.
You would have had 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow.
But
I think
you can actually taste something other than hops in it.
It's kind of creamy.
Yes.
There's like a a milky aftertaste to it.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Everyone's palate's different. No, it's good.
It's the same. Bless your heart.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, there's like a creaminess to it.
It has a softer mouthfeel for sure. Yeah.
I will say this: he's exactly right. It's exactly like an IPA that I would have drank like 6 years ago when they were first getting up in popularity. Before people started doing double dry, before people started doing double, before people started doing New England, before people started doing juicy. This is like almost along the lines. I hate to say that. Like the Sierra Nevada original pale ale.
So right now in the tap room...
This is a little hoppier than that.
It is, yeah. This is like the big seller. And I think it's because people are a little fatigued of
with all the new stuff.
Crazy... They're like, well, I want a good IPA, but I don't want to drink a 9% punch you in the face.
Yeah, look, Boss Tweed from Old Nation.
That was actually really
9.3.
No,
9.3 is serious stuff.
But it's a lot of beer, you know what I mean? Like, you going to drink 3 of those?
No.
You shouldn't. Yeah, and at a bar you shouldn't.
Yeah.
This is
drinking
like
that's drinking almost like 9 beers.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like people come in, they're like, 5.5%, perfect. Like, love it. Still hoppy.
It's not quite a session.
Yeah, it's not quite a session. Got a little more to it.
Yep.
And I love selling this beer because people come in and they're like, is that the one with my hops in it? I'm like, you got it, man.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, you know what? I grew those all year. They like water them and they trim them and they pick them. Picking hops is a pain in the you-know-what.
Oh, is it?
They're like, oh yeah, it's one vine. It'll take me 20 minutes. It will take you all day to pick that vine.
Wow.
Tons of little hops. They're sticky. They're all over the plant. It's a total pain. So it's a labor of love. And people come in and they drink it and they...
It reminds me of some other plant you have to do a lot of work with. It's in the same family.
Closest plant relative.
Right? It's in the same, almost the same family.
Very similar smells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, daffodils?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Roses.
Yes, thank you.
But this is a good one, yeah. And it's, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but like local businesses are about community, and when you can get people coming and so psyched about something like this,
I think somebody's taking a photo.
They did. They pulled over to do a selfie.
Oh my!
I was watching that.
It's a fishbowl in here. Like, I don't know. For people listening, if you've never been here, you are inside a fishbowl. Whether you're working or drinking,
Actually,
everyone knows what you're doing.
I feel bad for you being on that side, too, because him and I will watch something that's going on.
Okay.
It's awesome.
I know. During the day when I need to work, I usually sit at the bar with my laptop and email and papers. I sit over there now.
Yeah, because you
can't do anything. Yeah. People are knocking on the windows. Can I come in? I'm like,
no, you can't.
Man, I need 3 hours of stuff to do.
Yeah.
So...
Some lady I'm assuming she works upstairs or whatever. Is there an upstairs?
There's a yoga studio upstairs.
That's great. Well, I think somebody just walked up there.
Yeah.
They walked in. They were like looking in here.
Probably like, what the heck's going on?
I think they see the microphones.
It was a huge party.
Yeah.
3 people.
3 people. See, all right, Gov, we're under.
Yeah.
That's probably who. That was probably some sneaky one of his compatriots. Like, look at that place. They got 3 people.
She's calling right now.
Half the lights are off. There's 3 people in there.
They're all sitting at a table.
God.
But I hate to say it, like as a bar owner, and this, some people could be like, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll do whatever I want. No, they will find out. Eyes and phones are everywhere, and people will rat you out at the drop of a hat. Let me tell you.
Yep.
You can't get away with it. Even, like, you're having a big party, you're having a lot of people at your bar.
Oh,
some disgruntled person
will.
I'm
just saying, like, something happened here.
Yep, some disgruntled person will photo it or video it or call whoever it is, the authorities. They think, I'm telling you.
Yeah, there's like a banquet place over here.
You can't get away with it.
That did something happened where the neighbors called and said that they were having this massive party, and they were filming them and sent the films to the cops. The cops set up a camera across the street, but basically they made the argument. It's just that it's the same people coming in and out a lot.
Yeah.
So it's only a small group of people, but they're coming in and out of the door a lot. So it looks like there's a lot of people going in and out.
Not illegal.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? If people need to stop worrying about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Like if it's not affecting you personally, like if you walk by somebody's house and they're having a huge party, is that affecting you personally? No, then mind your own business. Like, do you really need to be like, well, it's not safe for the rest of us, I got to turn you in? That's not necessarily true.
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You've turned everybody into a bunch of tattletales.
Yeah.
Like, they can't wait. I mean, dude, trust me, human nature, I don't know, can't wait to rat other people out.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it might. Well, whatever. I think it might be a sign of the times too. It's just part of our society. Now,
and they justify it by saying, "Well, I'm doing the right thing. I don't want anybody spreading the. No, you're being a tattletale.
Yeah.
There could have been 15 people there instead of 10, and you got to rat them out.
Yeah, I mean,
10 people was just a guideline. It's not like at 15 people automatically people are getting COVID. So calm down.
Yeah.
There was at some point in time.
Use your brain a little bit. Like, the guidelines are the guidelines because people really don't know what's going on. So they're kind of giving you a general outlook of what to do to try to prevent it.
Yeah.
Like, just because somebody has a couple more people at their house or, they're not quite 6 feet apart because they don't, let's settle down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Use some good judgment.
Before this all happened, it's like you'll say I was at the bank. I very rarely ever go to the bank anymore, but I was at the bank, and it must have been somebody had walked past this whole line of people and got into line, and the lady who was 2 or 3 back behind me is freaking out. There's a line, doesn't they see the person's like wife was right there, like he was just
parking the car.
Yeah, whatever. And then
they jump right on it. They don't even know what happened.
No, and like I drive cross country to Texas every year for Christmas because my dad doesn't like to fly. This year was going to be different, but I just canceled my trip, so that's not happening. But anyway, when I've driven cross country, I'll see like if there's roadwork construction and they're like putting everybody into one lane, I'll see like one person like move out and block halfway in that left lane, stopping people from trying to pass them.
18-wheelers do it a lot.
Yeah,
I love that.
18-wheelers will do it all the time because they know it's going to make it worse later on when everybody's just going shoo shoo shoo, and then they're jamming it up right up there. And 18-wheeler put 2 wheels right in the other lane.
Good for them.
And stop that from happening. And he's basically saying he's like, you merge back there.
Yeah.
Or what about the people
behind
that are passing on the
like that.
on the shoulder?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I watch like there's like an exit and we're all like sitting and somebody in front of me will move over and block so that people can't drive down the shoulder to get off that exit.
Oh gosh, yeah. I know people are crazy these days.
Crazy, especially with driving.
So many of them too. You're never gonna get everybody to get along.
So Schenectady question for you: do you think Schenectady has the worst drivers on earth?
No, absolutely not.
I live in Troy.
No way.
Troy's? Do you think Troy's worse?
Oh, Troy's worse.
Oh my gosh,
Clifton Park's. I lived in Clifton Park for a while. That was really bad.
This area is not even the worst. There's other places in New York State that are way worse than this.
Oh man, I've always felt maybe it's just the traffic pattern or something here. But like, no, if there's a light that's even looking yellow or red, people are speeding up.
Oh yeah, I have seen that.
Oh yeah, I mean if
really dangerous.
If it turns yellow, you better not stop because the guy behind you is going to hit you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're gunning for you.
I watch it all the time. I see people not even yellow, just blowing red lights.
Well,
the other day, I'm like, this light went red.
Oh, and people are...
And his truck went through it, and there was a car behind this truck, and he still went through it, and this guy was making a left because he got the green.
Yep.
I literally thought I was going to see a massive accident, and it's because people, like, when I say blatantly running, the other lanes of traffic had a green, like, for 3 seconds, and this person still ran the red.
Yeah. My wife and I joke, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Especially on Erie Boulevard.
Wait 5 seconds.
On Erie Boulevard is particularly, give it a 5 count.
Yeah.
What's the rush? And you'll see people blow it 3 seconds into it.
I've literally counted it. Like 1, 2, 3. Still he goes. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
I've, like I said, I lived in Clifton Park for a while. I've been flipped off 4 times my entire life while driving. That somebody's flipped me off, and 3 times of it was in Clifton Park, and 2 of them were little old ladies.
No,
I am dead serious. They are super aggressive in Clifton Park. Troy, they just like stop signs. So like seriously, when you pull up to a stop sign, you see a car coming. Like, you can't sit there and be like, oh, they're going to stop. That's not a guarantee.
Right.
People, there's a bunch of alleys in Troy.
Yep.
People fly out of the alleys, won't even look. And they'll just drive down the alley, like jumping over major streets, just without stopping, without looking. So you got to yield at and then also on top of it in Troy, for some crazy reason, 4-wheelers, dirt bikes, go-karts, homemade vehicles. Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And they don't look. They don't care.
Oh, the Schenectady no look. So people cross the street in Schenectady.
Oh yeah,
they don't even look.
No, they expect you to stop.
Yeah, they literally don't even give it the 1, 2. It's the no
they don't
look
do that in Troy.
Straight in. Yeah,
they don't do that in Troy. Troy, they don't look when they're driving. When they're walking, they look because they know they're not looking when they're driving.
Oh man!
All that's going to happen is if you're not looking, if you cross the street, you're just not going to see that car coming that mows you down.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all that's happening.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you.
You're just not
if you
gonna see your
think
death.
that people are going to stop, you are sorely
crazy.
mistaken.
Yeah.
You are gambling.
Yeah.
Every 50-50 every time you step out that street and you say to yourself, I have the right of way. I don't have to stop. Well, 2 tons of steel and glass have something else to say about that.
Let me
They
point
can't
out.
stop on a dime.
I have 2 facts to point out. My mother has a driver's license and she has night blindness.
There
Good
you
luck.
go. Perfect. Don't be
Good
out
luck.
there.
Still drive.
Yeah. Well, no, she doesn't really drive now.
My mom has trouble at night too. Usually, if she has to drive at night, she'll either ask me or my dad or somebody. She doesn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It happens with age,
Sure.
She's always been blind at night.
Especially when it's raining.
Oh, you can't see anything.
Can't see anything.
No. Between the lights and you can't see anything. And people think you can. You cannot.
You can't at all.
You cannot. Oh.
I guess that puts an explanation point at the end of this podcast. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's good.
I think so too.
It's been lengthy.
It has been.
We had excellent beers again.
We did. We get
well,
spoiled
you
when
guys
we come
are-
here.
I'm
guys
embarrassed to say I stopped it at the beer store today,
So did
and
I.
I got beer, but I didn't
Oh.
bring it with me.
I got some beer. I got some surprises for you.
I was looking for, as a matter of fact, I was looking for something specific. I couldn't find it. Sawtooth Ale by Left Hand Brewing Company.
Oh, you're going to bring it for this podcast?
Couldn't find it, and then I looked for, what's that one? Rothschild? What's that one?
Rothaus.
Rothaus. I looked for that in the German area. I figured it was German. Couldn't find it.
It's a hard. The only place I've ever found that's had it is Oliver's. I thought
yeah,
Beer
he-
Universe by me had it.
Jen said she's like that you said you'd probably not find it there. And then I ended up going with, I would just happen to be walking out and I saw the Bellhaven Scottish Ale.
Oh, there you go.
So I grabbed a 6er. I was going to bring it for you guys, but why do I want to bring outside beer to a brewery?
Exactly.
That's kind of
I'm not offended.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
I mean, I am actually. Get out. No.
sometimes we'll have podcasts where we just sit at the bar and we just drink whatever beers and we talk about it and other stuff.
Yeah.
That's what we'll save it for. Because I got 2 beers for you.
Yeah, I think you've had them. I was going to go with the Wee Heavy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I wavered. I'm like, something. I'm just going to go with the straight up Scottish ale. I do like the Wee Heavy, but the Wee Heavy is a bit wee heavier.
Yeah.
So I wanted something not as.
Heavy.
It's a wee. Yeah, man. Heavy. What's they say?
Gets in my belly.
Yeah. So that's what I was. I was actually. If I found the Left Hand Brewing Company, the Sawtooth Ale, I was going to bring it. I was going to bring, like you said, this last IPA was a traditional.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a what I consider a traditional ale that's very hard to find now. Any place where you where like a brewery or a restaurant, like nobody just makes a straight ale.
Yeah.
Which people have told me is relatively easy to make. I guess ales aren't difficult. They don't take a lot of time.
Yep.
But that's kind of my area of beer enjoyment.
Yeah, I like ales.
And nobody really does them. And I wanted to, like an ale. Like a Scottish ale is a little different. Scottish ale has a much maltier flavor.
Yep.
This is like I would liken it to, if anybody's ever at Adirondack Brewing Company's, their Bare Naked Ale.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or what's another ale that's like it? Which is, they don't make it anymore. Utica Club, I'm saying. Saranac used to make an Adirondack Amber.
Yeah.
That was a excellent amber ale. Mm-hmm. Wolf's Hollow's amber is pretty good.
Yeah.
But
it is good.
I think that's more of a more amber ale. I was thinking more of a traditional ale, like a Bass.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which you don't never see anymore is a Bass ale.
Yeah.
Once I guess their contract came up with Guinness. Guinness dropped them.
Oh, really?
They went off the face of... Tell me where you see Bass ale now.
I've seen it today.
Everywhere you saw Guinness, you saw Bass.
Yeah, not
10
anymore.
years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case anymore.
Yeah.
I almost
anyway,
got it some.
I wanted to bring the Sawtooth Ale in is because when I spent some time in Colorado, and this was a long time ago. Jesus Christ, I was in Colorado. It had to be almost 20 years ago. Maybe a little less than 20 years ago. And this was when craft breweries were just coming out. Like Sierra Nevada basically is what I consider the first non-Bud Miller Coors to make it big in the country.
Yeah.
And when we were out there, Colorado had an excellent micro brew scene.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, yeah, this one looks good. Sawtooth Ale. I like ales. To this day, one of my favorite beers of all time. And I couldn't believe it when I found it at Glenville Beverage.
Nice.
And I was excited to bring it for you guys today.
And then didn't
But
make it
then
here.
the gods of beer have decided that was not going to happen.
I might be able to get that one. We have, I don't know, Beer Universe has a pretty good selection. I might.
Well, they had Left Hand Brewing Company, but both of them were stouts. They didn't have the ale.
That time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Sawtooth Ale was one of their flagships, like Long Trail Ale. Like, you'll always see Long Trail Ale because that's their flagship beer, which is actually another good example of a good ale.
Yep.
Although, in terms of Long Trail Ale, their ale was very hoppy compared to like what I would consider like the Sawtooth Ale or the Bass Ale.
More of a pale ale.
It's
yeah.
The Long Trail Ale is actually a pale ale.
Yeah.
More so than just an ale.
Right. A little hoppier. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely. You notice the hops in a Long Trail Ale, which was, I would say this, getting back, that was another early micro brewery that really did well, and my partner and I, really had that was our flagship beer for years was Long Trail Ale. That was our big,
Yep,
that was
I
our big
remember.
micro brew beer. The rest of them were all stuff you heard of, you know what I
Right.
mean? But that was a big one. We had them on for years. We finally just took them off like 2 years ago. Not even.
Longhammer, too.
They were one of the early ones. The problem that happens with a lot of the early breweries is they get overtaken.
Yeah.
Newer, more modern, and people consider better.
Places like here. I actually tried out a place in Cohoes recently that they were home brewers. They didn't and their setup isn't like the biggest setup. It's almost like a large home brewing setup, but they've actually made a brew pub out of it, and they're called Bai.
Are they open?
Yeah, just opened.
Huh.
It's then the beer was phenomenal for. Not saying I don't have high hopes for home brewers, but a lot of places we go to, they're graduates of the of Schenectady, and that's how the area's kind of blown up. But to still see there guys out there that are home brewers that are producing, like the guys over at Fidens that are still out there producing beers, it's pretty interesting and neat to see that some of those home brewers were producing really good beers.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of my friends at the bar, Bob, is making his own beer right now. And not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, he actually did his brewing down at the bar.
Oh, nice.
Out back under the tent. He makes, he's making like the 5-gallon batches. You know what I mean? Like, for
idea.
at home. But he's doing it right now. He got all the ingredients and everything, and I was hanging out with him.
Beer after us?
I was hanging out down with him. He was using actually my turkey fryer.
Oh, there you go.
To do the beer.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to be psyched when I get a chance to taste it.
For sure. We should do it on the show.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sure he would love to do that.
Actually, I want to do a home brewing show at some point.
Yeah, that's something I'd like to try too. I looked, some home brewing kits can be inexpensive, and some can be really elaborate and expensive.
That's why I want to bring on some of these home brewers.
Like I've seen some, like couple $1,000 home brew
for sure.
systems.
Some of the stuff I sent you.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why I have some of these guys come on is because I want to talk. They've already gone through the trials.
Initial process. Yeah.
They've kind of found a thing that's worked for them, and I'd like to hear about it. Anytime I hear anybody does a podcast, I'm like, what kind of equipment do you use? What kind of mics do you use? What kind of board do you use? What are you doing? Same thing with brewing. Like, I'd love to hear, pick their brains at some of the stuff that they're doing. And
this is his second beer, as a matter of fact.
Awesome.
So the first one, I can't think of the name. He's going to be pissed at me because it was a really clever name. Whatever. I won't say it now. We'll mention it when he comes on. I'm sure he'll want to come on. And like I said, he just finished brewing his second beer, and it'll be ready, 4 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Does he listen to the show?
I have no idea.
He's going to now.
He's going to have to now because he's going to be on it. He's going to be a star.
Yeah.
You're going to make him a star.
Yes. More famous than us.
Star.
All right, guys. I think
good.
This wraps up this episode of the Thanksgiving episode. Harry, thank you so much. Again, unfortunately, your beers, all of them look great. I wish we could have gone down the whole list. Unfortunately, I still got to drive to Troy today. So the stouts were awesome. Dave, thank you so much again for doing these with me.
No problem. And the cream ale, listen, everyone, it is worth coming down here and
get a growler at 6.
Trust me, if you like, it's worth it.
Get a keg.
You guys are too kind. Thanks for having me.
No, it's true.
No
Thanks
problem.
for coming down and drinking beer with me.
Not a
no problem. Having a little discussion.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the future, more of the boring part of the discussion we can touch on.
For sure. It's all important stuff though.
Yeah, it's important. Definitely important to this and us.
All right.
Yep.
All right. I want to say this: Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there.
Happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for listening.